welcome to Family We've Got Your Back. I really dislike the weeks that I choose the topic because of things that we did wrong as parents.
Yeah. We make mistakes.
Yeah, and
but
learning from them.
We try to learn from them.
We do. We try to learn. So, yeah.
Yeah. Guess who made the mistake this time? Anyway.
So, yeah, we struggle with that. Anyway, this week's topic is you cannot make your children's choices for them. And agency and all that great awesomeness.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got a new light. My birthday is on Sunday, and I got a present today because it's this week's podcast, and Trent thought it would be fun to give it to me today. And it's a light to help us...
See? Creepy eyes.
Have better light. But he's got
creepy eyes.
A reflection of it in his glasses. And so we're learning how to deal with that. So please enjoy the learning curve that we are going through right now. Anyway, so yeah, you might have, Trent with, okay.
Creepy eyes.
Creepy fun eyes. It's like we're doing like, what is the thing where you have like fake hair and tattoos and in your chats or whatever. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm obviously very technologically savvy and know everything about social media, obviously.
Anyway, back to
parental
involvement.
Yeah. So your job as a parent is to teach your children how to navigate their world in a way that serves them best, and not in a selfish way serves them, but serves them as in for the growth of humankind. Like breaking the law will end you in jail, so maybe teaching them to not break the law will help them become a better adult, right?
And not criminals.
So like that's kind of what we're talking about, is like good choices versus bad choices. So helping them navigate their world so that they can live their best life. And
one of the things that we hear often is that we try to teach correct principles and then let them govern themselves.
Right. And if they don't know correct principles, they can't govern themselves properly.
And so if you don't think that we're the type of parents that said, "Oh, if your 4-year-old doesn't want to do this, they don't have to." No.
Yeah, they do.
They do, because they still don't know, right? But at some point in time, you have to give up some of your guidance to let them figure things out.
Right. And we're not saying that as a 4-year-old they don't get choices. We're saying if it's unsafe, you can remove them from that situation, right? Like, you want to go play in the street? I'm sorry, you cannot do that. That is one choice that that is not a choice you get to make. But you can choose to play in the backyard or the front yard or in the house, right? Yeah. So we're not saying
they get to dictate your life.
Right. But we are saying you cannot make their choices for them, especially as they become adults. Yeah. Right? Once they're adults, like, your job is, well, not your job is over, but like you can no longer say you can't play in the road. Right? Yeah. And as much as you want to say you cannot play in the road.
And we've seen TV shows and stuff like that, like, as long as you live in this house, you'll act this way, blah, blah, blah. And whether you want them to act wisely, but at some point in time, they have to figure out what is wise.
Right. And so
once they have that capability.
And we're not saying as adults, if they live in your house, you can't have house rules that they need to obey in order to live there. We're saying, like, you can't dictate their every life choice. Yeah. Like, Like in our house, as an adult, our children need to contribute chore-wise in order to live in our home. And if they don't do their chores or the things that we ask them to do, then living in our home is no longer an option, right? They need to have a job, and they need to, and we're not saying they have to contribute financially, but they need to contribute to the upkeep and the maintenance of the home in some way, whether that's cook dinner or keep the public living area clean, or mow the lawn, or whatever it is.
Yeah, contribute.
You need to contribute to the maintenance of the day-to-day living of the home. And if you do not do that, then you do not get to be here, right? So that is the way that we are saying, yeah. And if we're not saying we're not making their choices for them, but we're saying these are the consequences to your choices. And so so there are still consequences to every choice in life, but you don't get to force your kids to make choices. So the consequence for bad behavior when you're 4 is time out.
Yeah.
Or the power chair, or they don't get their TV time, or.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever you choose is best for your child. Whereas you have to wear this, and you have to eat this, and you have to do this at this time, and you have to do, and every moment in their life is dictated, then they're not ever going to learn how to make responsible choices and navigate the world for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we make that transition from teenager to adult children, we struggle with where's the line.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, so if you're not making the choice we want to make, you're an adult, and we can't really put you on timeout anymore. Right?
No. Plus, that would, for a lot of people, that's a welcome thing. It's like, okay, leave me alone.
It's like, okay. Yeah. So, we've been discussing, okay, so what is the line? What is appropriate? Yeah. What can we do? What is no longer appropriate? And what is appropriate for our teenage children, but not for our adult children? And so, we're learning to navigate our world as well. And if other people force us to make choices, we won't learn how to navigate that world that we are trying to figure out. So everyone is in a situation where they're trying to figure it out, right? And if you have no options, you don't learn.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we want as parents, is to teach our children and have them learn. We want them to grow and become as awesome as they can, right?
Yeah.
But we don't get to choose that. We don't get to choose what they become. We don't get to, we can be the most perfect parents ever, and yet they can still, yet they still can either follow our example and our lead and our teachings, or they can choose their own way. They can choose another way and go do something completely different. And we don't get to control that. Well, so you have hopes and dreams for your kids, but if it's not their hopes and dreams, then we can give it. Yeah. Sorry,
you're good. I was just going to say it's also interesting too, because their way might be wiser than our way.
It might be.
What's good for one family might be a better situation in a different family. And so we can't think that we have the answers to everything.
Right.
We just know what we know.
Yeah. Your kids have brains, and they can use them if they're taught to use them properly.
Right. Yeah, if they've been taught.
And that's the whole point of school, is to teach your kids how to use their brains, right?
And adjusting and
being resilient.
And,
and figuring out what's important and what's not, and where to put their focus, and what major things are important for them, and all you can do is create a positive influence for them, and if they choose not to follow that influence, then it's up to them.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to be able to say, okay, you cannot do this, and this is the job you should get, and this is how you should behave, and because this will help you be happy, I don't get to force that on them. I can say, yeah, this is the things, these are the choices, these are the rules you follow, or whatever, that lead to happiness, because I've lived another way and I've lived this way, and I promise that this is the way, not the way, but this
way,
this
at least.
path leads to happiness, where this one does the opposite, but they can still choose to go down the opposite path.
Yeah.
I guess
it's tricky. And life is designed to be tricky, and so I think it's, we try to prepare ourselves for as much as we can. We try to make good choices as much as we can. But at the end of the day, just because we've had success one way does not mean that it's the only way.
Yeah.
And so we need to be humble enough and understand that our strengths and our weaknesses are going to be different for the people that we're trying to raise, right? And so it becomes complicated.
Yeah. It
becomes tricky to say, you shouldn't do it this way. Because there's lots of different ways to do things well.
Yes, there are. Yes. And so there's a fine balance between stifling your children's ability to explore and figure out on their own, and
enabling
and letting them make their own mistakes, and then being too loose and say, right. Oh, whatever. You can make whatever choice you want. Nothing is ever wrong. You can, and we find that to be garbage.
Find that to be garbage.
Yes, there are right and wrong choices in life. That this philosophy out there that whatever you choose to do is right. That's not a valid statement. That is very false. There are good choices. There are bad choices.
Yeah, ask my kids who are at juvie. There's wrong choices.
There are wrong choices in this world. And, do whatever you want. Do whatever feels good. No, that's not the way to true happiness. Yeah. And it will lead to disaster for you. So, anyway. So, please learn from our mistake.
Yeah. And notice we didn't go into detail.
To protect the privacy of those involved.
I'm the person involved.
Well, there's also other people involved.
There's other people involved too.
But yeah, so you got to figure it out for yourself.
Figure it out for yourself.
I mean, that's the advice.
Have open communications.
Yes.
Be very flexible. Understand that, it's our job to help our kids to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And to provide a cushioning effect for when things go wrong.
Yeah, being there the safety net.
That's what I meant.
Safety net. Good one. Yes, thanks. We're a safety net for our children.
We try to be anyway.
I mean, we want to be.
I don't know.
Some of our kids may think that we are the thing that pushes them off the tightrope into the safety net.
Yeah.
But that's not our...
How far can we take this analogy?
Ooh, let's do some more. Let's start singing songs from The Greatest Showman. No, I'm kidding. Okay, no. So we're not doing that. Maybe we'll have an episode about The Greatest Showman and how I find that to be a sad part of it to be... Anyway, we're not going there. Anyway. So... The hardest part is finding the line, and usually when you find the line, it's because you've crossed it.
Yeah.
And learn from your mistakes and enjoy the journey. And I was going to say one more thing about As soon as you decide that it's a power struggle with your kids, or that it's a me against them, you have lost.
You've lost. Yeah, we agreed on this completely.
Yeah, it's not a you versus them.
No.
You're the parent. You have all the power. And the moment you say, well, it's a power struggle, no, they're just trying to navigate their world. They don't consider you the enemy. They're just trying to figure out their life.
Yeah.
And when they're 4, they don't have it figured out yet. When they're 24, they often don't have it figured out yet.
But you need to give them that chance.
In a safe environment where there are boundaries.
Safe, supportive environment.
Yes, where there are boundaries, and say, okay, yes, when you're 4, you cannot do this. When you're 24, that might not be a wise choice, because this would be the consequence, right?
Yeah.
So I guess this week's activity for you to do is find the line and try to have it not be through a mistake. But maybe you could think about it logically and say, you know what, that would be crossing the line. You know, find out what works best for you with your family in with helping your children learn how to make choices.
Yes.
So anyway, all right, have a good week.
Yeah. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.